You know what? I don't even think I'm going to wait today. I think I should just start. So that's exactly what I plan on doing. My throat is a little bit worse. Hello, Jason. How you doing today? So when I press play, you'll notice I have some camera movements here that are extremely hard to look at. But it was more so just for functionality with the scripts. So this one rotates. You can't actually see anything well. That's because I need game scene open first and then this. There we go. So now it'll be lit up nicely and you'll see at this. We've got it turning one way. We've got like an overhead view. Then we got turning the other way. And then now you notice it flipped. It's kind of hard to tell that it flipped. It's extremely hard to tell. Hello, Renz. Hello, Jessica. How you guys doing today? Yeah, so it's just basic combat movements. Now, in my controllers, I'm going to be going at a fast speed today. I realized my coding descriptions are never that good. So I'm probably just going to try to hammer through it really, really quick. Okay, so let's make this so it doesn't load testing room. What? Just go. Weird. Over here. Okay, there we go. We don't need to load this up. That was just basically the room that had all the people and stuff like that. Thank you, Jason. I'm happy how it moves. It moves nicely, but there's weird movements. They don't flow together just yet. Hello, Mateus. How you doing today? And you got a new icon, eh? Right on. Always changing it. Always changing it. Hello, King. Thank you, thank you. Okay. So, let's close this. What I had done was hidden this player when it starts, right? And I don't think I want to do that. I think instead I want to have a position for the player to stand, and I actually do want to just disable entity input. Right? Or not even disable it, but just have like another thing that says in combat, which we have, and if it is, he can't move. Right? I think that makes more sense. So in player hider, we're not going to need this. So let's just delete this here. And then scripts, player hider. Hide player. We don't need that. If I press play though, I do believe our character still gets hidden. I can't even hear over my voice. Oh, okay, good. He doesn't get hidden, which means I can actually move around. Oh, that's great. With the camera movements, it feels so strange. Because I'm running straight, and straight means going that way. This means backwards. This is right. This is left. Up, down, there. That's great. That's great. Oh, wait. Why didn't it... Shouldn't it say there's two audio? Yeah, okay. It does. I was going to say, why doesn't it say there's two audio listeners? That's because we still have this other camera on. So, in our combat manager... Reload all. Okay. So, on start, we're going to need a reference to the player and the other camera. So, we find the game objects. We have... We don't need this. You can delete this and this. We have the current animation variables. We have the database. Got an ad for CAD, and they use NCS music in the background. That's hilarious. Alright, so we're going to need player variables. Private game object, player, private entity, in privsat, entity input, p input, private game object, player camera. Okay. Oh, so actually, he'll still go in Viz if we had the scenes properly loaded. So if I save this, load up this scene, and oops, Where's temp? Oh, there we go. And I run into the cube, he should disappear. See? He's gone. So I need to change that. And that would be in do animations, get visuals, find next. No, it's in, what script is that? Combat Manager, that's what it should be. Okay. No? You're not? Try shard. Combat trigger? Oh, it's in Game Manager, right? It's a little bit silly to be over here, but it is. I was hiding the player here, which I don't want to actually do. So, toggle player false. I'm going to just turn this off for a second. We also have disable player. Can do menu. Can move. That's fine. We just don't need toggle player ever. Player.set active. True, true. Can move. True, true. Actually, we'll leave toggle player here because we do call it also when we reload, which means when it reloads, it'll set all of the variables back to normal. I'm also going to say p input dot in combat equals false. Okay, so now he shouldn't disappear here. Alright, so he's still here. He can still move. And there's still 2 audio listeners. So, why can our player still move, though? Did we not make it so he can't move? I guess we didn't, eh? Yeah, can't move is on. But that's okay. When the scene loads, we're going to change all that. So he's still here, which is what we wanted. Okay. This is Camera Manager. Do I want this in my camera or my Combat Manager, though?
Want you to jump like you trying to get stuck in the air. If you feeling so lit and don't care, shorty beating her face in the mirror, up in the air. I want you to jump, 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 up in the air. I want you to jump, jump. Like you trying to get stuck in it. In the air. Like you trying to get stuck in the air.
Oh, yeah, it was muted. Thank you. That got awkward. Alright, so let's see. We're running. And we're still there, but it did say this is being called. Find game object with tag. Oh, okay, yeah. So we never, right, that makes sense. So the player is now in combat, but he can still move because being in combat doesn't actually stop you from moving in this game. So let's go here. I need to get rid of this script at this point. Remove. Entity component requires it. Not anymore. Save. Remove component. Okay, no it doesn't. I saved. You don't rely on it. There we go. Does that break my game? Did I need it for something? Looks like I didn't. Okay. Hello, Richard Gustin. How are you doing today? Not a very active chat today. Oh well. So we're setting this to be in combat. Now, if in combat is true, what's going to happen? If is active player inputs. Okay, I'm just going to put another check here and just say if in combat. And I mean if not in combat. Else debug.log we are in combat, so let's only do the combat things. I also have a combat manager here that checks if we're in combat, so I gotta make sure that that's also changing. I ended up not going to Toronto. I just went downtown Barrie and I had a blast. Okay, so the combat manager doesn't know we're in combat. Our player is still moving slightly and just walked off the earth there. So what we need to do is just make sure that the a.setInteger state, no, it's not state. I mean, we will set the state, but we also want to set run speed anim to 0. So where was that? Okay. Run speed anim equals 0. And state equals 1. I think that's correct. And they're floats, eh? No, that's not right. It's an integer. That'll stop us from running off the map if we were still holding down the arrow keys. Hello, Extol. How are you doing today? Boom. So I'm still holding the run, and he still walked off, eh? But is he moving now, or is it just... That's weird. For some reason, he still thinks that he needs to move forward. I guess I just need to put move, basic player movement and rotation. Oh, I fixed update also? What in the fuck? Why do I have update and fixed update in here? What am I doing? Like, I know you can, but is that necessary? If I put this here, does that break anything? I think it's specifically for my camera. Right, because it'll look jittery. Yeah, see how jittery it looks when he's moving? It's because the camera needs to be fixed update stuff. So, yeah, we'll put it back. But, now that I know that... Where is fixed update? Okay. Venue is open, do this. else do this. If not in combat, that's okay. Else, put the new stuff. I don't know. We wouldn't even need an else. It's just going to be if not in combat. I'll leave the else for now, though. Okay. So now if I run up to this person, I should no longer be moving. He got really close to the edge there. We actually ran off the edge. Huh. Can move is still true, oddly enough. But in combat is also true, so... And moving is also true. Okay. But we should be able to bring up the menu, which we can't. That's fine. I'm not too concerned. Alright, so let's set all the right values there so we don't get confused. So this is in Combat Manager. So we're going to say player input, combat is true. P input, can move is false. Moving, P input, not moving equals false. Okay. Excuse me. I'm actually going to make this a void toggle combat player, or toggle player movements. I don't know, something like that. Movable. It's going to take in a bool setup, or just call it bool b, make it simple. And basically, this is going to equal b, and the three remaining ones are going to equal not b, not b, not b, and not b. So it's saying that when we toggle this, if we set it to true, toggle player movable is true, which is a bad name for it now, it's going to say this goes true, those will go false. Pretty simple, but I want to change the name to be something making more sense. Toggle combat player. That's probably better. Okay. So, I want the player to stop moving as soon as he touches that, though. But he can't move, he can't jump. We need to target something here to lock on. Oh, that's what's happening. I was like, is that an error? I don't. But that was just a debug line that I forgot to delete. Also, the count is 4, it doesn't need to keep appearing either. So, where is that? The count. AK Gamation Gameton? I can't pronounce it. I haven't frozen the background, no. Was it you who sent me the message on Twitter? Because I haven't looked at that yet. It's not really too important just yet, but it will be. So, okay, once we tell the game manager, no, it's our combat trigger is saying init combat, list of enemies, scene manager, combat manager, combat amount, combat manager. Okay, then we have game manager doing init combat. Game manager init combat. We could actually, now that we've put this here, we can make this a public void And we could just call this here. So we can say cmanager dot this true. Right, so that'll automatically call this. So we won't even need to do this here, but we could put it here also, just for the simple fact, just in case if we call for testing purposes to where we don't have the game manager set up. So it's like isolated on its own. Hello, unknown sinner. How you doing today? And I'll definitely look into it. So there we go. He stopped moving. He was disabled. He's here. Now he can't move. Good. Okay. So the next thing we're going to need is to actually set the player to start a combat. This one is still cleared. This is being called. We need to set the player's position to the player pause here. So if I were to go into my scenes, arenas, grass, save all this. All right. Hello, Karina Warrior. It's going pretty good. We're slowly getting combat down. I've got some basic camera movements. I've got the player still in there. His empty input's still going to be on, but just because we're in combat, it won't do anything. And now we're making it so he'll be moved to the right spot. So let's actually have create an empty spawn points. Spawn points. I really like tags, if you've noticed. Spawn points. We'll just zero this out. And then in it, we're going to create an empty. And this will be player. Okay. So the player is going to spawn probably right -20. But back here maybe. Maybe -18. And the Y is fine because the ground here is lowered. But this will be the player spawn point. So when we are in our combat manager, let's create a game object here. Spawn points equals game object. Find game object with tag spawn points. Then we're going to create a game object or transform. Player spawn. Actually, I'll call it player position. No, spawn makes more sense, even though he's not spawning. But hello, Riley. How are you doing today? So this is going to be set to the game object that we just found. Dot find or dot transform first. Sorry. Then dot find. Then we're going to find player, and that can be closed. Then we're going to set the player dot transform dot position to equal player spawn. Dot what? Transform to vector 3. Dot position. There we go. Yeah, I just removed the stream because we didn't really get much done. It was just like an hour long. I just feel like if people watch it, it'd be pointless. So, this should now. I don't know if it'll fire in this scene view. Yeah, it doesn't fire directly from here. So if I looked at my... Oh, because I don't even have Combat Manager open. Scenes. Game scene. Save. Arenas. Grass. If I had it like this, would it know to fire? No, it just thinks there's 2 audio listeners now. Okay. Game scene. Temp testing room. Let's just move this closer so I don't have to constantly run so far. Like over there. Okay. Did I break it? Oh, I did break it. I moved the game object and not collider. My bad. Hello, Joe Bums. How you doing today? Unknown Sinner. Hi, you've actually inspired me to start a smaller game project. Kind of struggling the coding, but I guess it's the only way I learn. That is the only way I learn, and I'm glad that I've inspired you. What kind of game are you making? Okay, so I touch this, and our player should now be standing in a completely wrong spot. 1 second.
Are you afraid of the dark? Are you scared? I am you. I'm coming closer. I will get you. The time it goes tick tock, tick tock, tick
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I just had to step away for a second. I have no idea why that's put him over here. What did I break?
Are you scared?
Spawn points.transform.find player. Then player.transform.position equals player spawn.position. Did I get the local? The position of this transform in world space. World space. I got an idea. If I drag this out, yeah, it still sees 018. What did I do? It didn't even move him. I think that's why I ran into that object. Aha! There was a mistake. It didn't find this. Okay, did we give this SPAWN? Okay, is that spelled the same? Spawn points. Okay. Then transform is player spawn. Spawn points transform find player. I think I know why this didn't work. Basically, this hadn't loaded when this loads, I think. I think. Let's just make this a public game object here. And then we can test it. Public game object. Right, that'll basically show me if we had found it. So if I'll start from down here, and you'll notice I'll be wherever I last was standing. But if we look at our combat manager, right now it says spawn points is none. And there, it still says spawn points is none. So it didn't load this stuff in time. So instead of doing where we had that here, we're going to need to put that on something that's already in the scene. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's go to our scenes, arena, grass. We'll save all this. I'm reading what you wrote over in the drive. Um, I do like your idea. We'll worry about that though once we finish this game, mainly because this game's still going to take a while. Okay, so in this scene, I'm going to need an init manager. Combat controllers. Throw this in here, and let's also create another empty and call this init manager. The init manager could actually hold the spawn points. That might make more sense. So I'm going to change what this tag is. Oh, I can't. That's fine. Okay, so this is going to need combat init, or just init combat. I'm going to move this to scripts. And we're going to also move it into combat. And I want to give it a sword icon. So when I'm looking at it, I know that it is a combat thing. Boom. Okay. So you have init combat. Let's load you up. Reload all. So instead of this being a thing, we're going to actually do... No, that one's fine. It's over here. Instead of this being a thing, okay, we can still do the toggling here. I just think it's a little bit silly how this is done, because this doesn't load quick enough. It could have been like on late update or something, but excuse me. It's okay, we'll just do it here. I don't know. I'm gonna isolate it just to this one script now. So even what we had done, like, we won't need these values, because I'm thinking let's take this off. We'll put it here. And then when it starts, we're going to toggle it like so. Then we should also get an error here, but we won't need this anymore, simply because once this scene loads, it's going to do this. Which is better that we've changed it to what we just did here, because now that this script is isolated to this scene specifically, and we press play in this scene, it should just work. Like, we don't need to... We'll need game scene first, I mean. Cancel. Game scene, and then we can just put in the arena. And this should automatically toggle the player behind the guy, which it did, right? But I can still move because, well, I don't know why. Do we get any errors? Okay, I create a bool. Private bool init equals true, and then if init, I think what's happening is there is you can't do it on the same call. This should also be giving us an error because I never set a player camera. Oh, I did. I just never set it here. That's fine. Do it like this. Let's also set up our camera. How did I get all this to work if that's what happened? I don't even think we need this now, actually. Let's see. Player, yeah, we did that twice. Player input, player camera. Okay. Bodwin, thank you. We shouldn't be able to move. Good. Cool. So our player stands behind our little creature right now. We're going to make it so like every time you do an input, the player's also going to look like he's casting a spell. I thought it froze, but it's because I wasn't clicked in Unity. Hello, Melanede. Is he animating still? He should be. Yeah. I should be saying she because it's a girl right now, but... Okay. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. And then the dude you're facing will spawn over there. If there is a dude. Only if there's a dude will that happen. Now, one thing I'm going to have to put a check in for is based on the size of the creatures, how far away they're going to stand. I need like a modifier that modifies the one value. But we can get to that. Melon ID. Oh, I like Melanede. But alright. Melon ID. Or Melon Eyed? Is that what you mean? It could be ID. Like a identification. Okay. So, we have the player values. We're also going to need the combat manager, a reference to this, so we know all the things that we're fighting, like list of enemies. The init combat is just going to handle putting us in the combat state. After that, it goes back to the combat manager, I think. I made a clay pot, spawn another clay pot, and it just creates an infinite loop. Is the turn-based fighting going to be like Pokemon Digimon? Yeah, it's going to be more like Pokemon Digimon. I think it's just easier. I enjoy those games. Like, I know that real time's a lot better, but real time's a lot harder to code. It's easy to code for you to interact, but then when you code the AI, that's where it gets tricky. Like, not even tricky, just time consuming. I did it before. I just don't want to do it again. I'm also going to press the add button. So everybody ready for this ad roulette? Let's get it going. Okay. So what we could do, now we've toggled the combat player. What if we also in here just call the combat manager and say init complete, right? Or like player init is complete, because then I can just focus putting everything in the combat manager, which is back here, right? So I'm going to change the name of this. Instead of saying start new combat, let's say set up enemies. Now that should give me an error over here. There it is. Set up enemies. Okay. Then once this is done, let's say public void set up enemy positions. I'll just say player init complete. Right. Maybe not. Maybe let's just do all the initialization here and then go back to it. Yeah, Ocarina. I remember once when I was making a game, I had rigid bodies, and they're supposed to just spawn a cube, but I made the cube spawn too fast, so I was shooting it down like a bazillion of them, and because they were inside of each other, they started basically like exploding in random directions. It's really cool to see, but complete mistake. Okay, I don't want to actually do that. We just want a combat manager reference, I think. So here's what I just realized. I didn't take into account who the game object is if it's a person that you're fighting, right? So if you look at my if you look at my combat manager, we can see the list of enemies, which are actual creatures, but we never take into account the person. We have to change this to also have a public list of game objects, and we'll call this person, enemy, people, prefabs equals new list game object. Then in game manager, when we called this private list game objects, enemy, people, prefabs equals new list game object. Okay. So what we're doing here is that sounded kind of racist. My bad. We're gonna do this dot clear. Then we're also gonna need to take in a list of game objects, enemy, people, equals enemy people. Oops, I don't know why I put these here. Yeah, that'll work. Then in our trigger, we're going back a bit. I don't know what the hell just happened there. What the fuck just happened there? Weird. Okay. So I saved this, and this isn't giving me an error yet, which is really odd. Yeah, but it's not giving me an error. That's interesting. This might seem a little bit redundant how I'm doing this, but it makes sense. Public list of game objects. What do we call it? List of enemy players. Equals new list. There we go. See, now that I think about it, the init combat in game manager is a little bit pointless because we could do that at any point. We could just set up the combat manager to match those. Right? It's right here anyways. We already created it. It's called setup enemies. So I'm going to, get rid of that extra step in the game manager because that's pointless as hell. Take a list of game objects like so. We're going to cut all these out. This one no longer going to take anything. Just going to say init combat. That's fine for game manager to do that, I suppose. Intro anim delay. Yeah, this should all be in the combat manager. It's so dumb that it's not. I wasn't really thinking when I did this code. Okay, now we go back here, and instead we're going to say combat manager, set up enemies. I should just call this setup. Setup. Combat manager dot type C type. Oh wait, I was supposed to type that here. Let's type combat type. I don't know what combat amount is though. That's interesting. So I'm going to say C type equals C type. Basically right now what I'm doing is instead of calling these separately in the trigger, I'm saying do it all right here in setup. So we're setting up the enemies, the player, prefabs, the combat type. Now what the hell is combat amount? Oh, single, double, triple. Now I remember. Duh. So here we're going to want to take in combat amount, C amount, combat amount equals C amount. There we go. Boom. Okay, so that got rid of our game manager. Now, set up icons. 4 P elementals on screen to child count. I'm thinking I'll take all of these out. So take setup icons and start coroutine intro anim. Where's enter combat scene called? Oh, right there. Okay, so let's take all of this, put you in my combat manager. We need those variables too. P elementals on screen. Which are these, and this. Oh, jeez. Okay. Do we need EDB? We need EDB. We need all of this. Shit. Okay. Actually, we might need that for a bunch of things that aren't just that. Maybe not. Let's go back here. Hello, Mr. K. How you doing today? We're also going to want to take these and put this in setup. So after we've done this, and it's no longer supplied from the game manager, we need, oh my god, there's so much, eh? Enter combat panel. Enter combat anim. Okay, let's just take all of this. Store active scenes. Get player position. Unload all. Load. Shit. Combat manager that set up enemies. List of enemies. Uh-oh. This needs to stay here. Shit. We're calling that after this coroutine. So this can be G manager. I don't know if this will break. Let's just see if I turn this one off. Does our game still work? That's the important part. So we gotta test it from these two scenes. Okay, so if I now run into this, it loaded. It did the animation. Now it's still doing the animation. That's what I just toggled off. So we'll have to toggle that on. But first, let's just check Combat Manager. Grass Wild Single 1, good. Level 5, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. It didn't set to be in combat though. I don't know if I ever did that though. On the player itself, I don't think I can move. In combat is active player, can move is false. Okay, good. Okay, so yeah, that's going apeshit. Let's stop that. Basically what I could do is on the init combat, I can just toggle it here, right? So once we're in and we moved everything, we can also get a private animator initial screen, not init, initial, there we go. And we're gonna need to say initial screen equals, this is gonna be fun to find. Is it this? Oh, it's not that hard. So it's literally just game object. So we know we're finding a game object. We know it has a tag of canvas because it's my canvas. Then we're going to say we need the transform so we can find its children. And we're going to find the one with the name enter combat. Then we're going to get the component of that called animator. Then you need some semicolons like this. And you hit that. Then initial screen dot set integer state to be 0. I think it's a capital S, but I can just check with here. It's a capital S. Alright, so what I did there might seem pointless, but it's just for my brain to be more logical, I think. We set up the enemies already, so it's fine. Init combat no longer needs to exist. Is this giving me an error? Combat manager, set up enemies. Nope. Yeah, so what I was doing before, which was kind of silly, basically, I'm gonna pause this. Once I walked to a creature, I was then telling my game manager that we needed to know these lists and everything. And then from there, I was telling the combat manager those same lists. And in both of those, between game and combat manager, I was doing the initialization. So it's a little bit confusing to look at, but now it makes more sense. This is literally just game manager stuff. So now I can press play. So I'm in normal game mode. We run in. We can't move. We do need to change the rotation. Also to match the fight, right? So scenes. Oh yeah, I guess we gotta check too if save this arenas if this will still work. Okay, yeah, so it still works. Let's quickly check this combat controller. It's in the init manager, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay. So when we move our player, so we got set up icons in our init combat. We're also gonna set the player.transform.rotation to equal the player spawn dot rotation. So it just faces the same way. Nothing too major. I can zoom this in again. The init doesn't really do anything yet, so it's fine. This can even be moved to before we toggle the player, toggle combat player, whatever that means. Oh, that's this. In combat can move. Actually, yeah, we do want it this order. Cool. Okay. Slowly working our way closer to actually doing combat. Now, it's another time for ad roulette, so let's see which poor souls get the ad again. Hello, Winterwolf. How you doing today? Which rotation, I always forget this, is it the Y? I want to set to 180? Yeah, it is, okay. There we go. So basically, you can fight up to 3 people at once. That's how I'm going to code this. So I'm going to create 3 spots. So player 1 is going to be here, player 2 will be here, and player, well, let's move it to appropriate amount. -5. That's a decent distance, I think. And 5. Those would be the 3 spots where they can spawn. Okay. Now, when you run into the player, what we need to do is check this. So, did we get the combat manager at any point yet? We did not. We need to know the combat type. So let's just get the combat manager. Basically, if we're fighting a player, we want to check for that, and if we are, then we're going to spawn those people. So if cmanager dot combat type, no, that's not what I want. Yeah, why didn't that show up? Oh, because I didn't name it that, did I? I called it C type. C equal to combat manager, combat type person. Then we're going to say spawn enemy player, or spawn enemy people prefabs. Okay. So we need to figure out how many we have. So we don't need the camera manager open right now, or the dialog list, so I'm going to close both of these. In here, we need to know how big this list is. So let's create an int num of people equals it's just this, sorry, there we go. So now we know how many people we have. We also need to get our, here, let's get enemy spawn points. We need to get those actual spawn points. I'm going to make them 3 separate game objects though. I could have looped through them. It's probably the best way to do it. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Let's create another empty here real quick. I'm going to call this enemy. And I'm going to pull these 3 in there. Okay. You might be questioning why, but it's just so I can loop through the same way I can loop through the list and whatnot, so just easier that way. But we do need the actual game object of the enemy people holder. And I only just set this up really if this is person. So we're going to do this here equals spawn points. I don't know why I set this to be a game object here, but you know, it's dumb. Actually, it's really dumb. Should be like this. So I'm going to call this player variables, enemy variables. Okay, so this is player, player, player. So we'll put those down here. Init variables. I can't pronounce that name, but how are you doing? Okay. What? Oh. Oh, that's because this isn't done, right? Got confused for a second. So enemy people holder is going to equal spawn points dot transform dot find enemy and dot game object, because I got it as a game object. Okay. Now we're just going to do a for loop real quick. So we're going to loop through the number of people that we have. We'll call it D. It needs to be less than the count, because this isn't 0 indexed, but this is. And we're just going to say, it does need to be an instantiate script though. So I'm just going to do a debug for now. Let's say debug.log spawn at enemy people holder plus enemy people holder. It's not a list, it's dot get child dot transform dot get child num of people, and that should spawn yeah, okay, that's fine. Let's go back to scenes, game scene, save this. Then let's also open up temp scene. Okay, I need to move this cube out of the way just for now. I want this guy, who I can never seem to click to save my life, by the way. Let me see combat. Okay. So I want to have this guy here. And in here we're going to say, he's going to have a list of enemy people. We're going to actually just spawn the same prefab, if that makes any sense. So, combat. There we go. Now let's duplicate this and let's pretend you're interacting with a double person. So there's two guys, right? And then we're going to make them look different. We're going to make one also look like the player. That might cause problems actually. Never mind. We'll just do the same one. Goddamn. There we go. So if I run into this, the first one should only say spawn one dude. Oh, I gotta talk to him, that's right. Thought it broke. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. CManager. Oh, I never set CManager. Well, CManager equals game object dot find game object with tag combat manager dot get component combat manager. No, not elementals. What the shit? What? Why do you keep saying combat elementals? There we go. I actually really liked how the players spawned with a slight rotation there, so I'm going to change that for later. Fun little glitch that we ran into, but... Alright, spawn at enemy O2. Is that the order that it's in? Why would it spawn enemy O2 first? It skipped this one. Interestingly, it skipped this one. Oh, because I'm saying spawn at number of people. This is supposed to be spawn at D, but that's fine. Now, if I go back and I press play again, this should, if I go talk to the other dude, it should say it twice at spawn point 1 and 2, right? It's being called. There we go. Spawn at enemy 01 and spawn at enemy 02. Cool. So, we need to actually spawn them. And then we need a reference to them as well, but not in init combat. We're going to need a reference to them in... do we ever go back to Game Manager yet? No, we don't. Well, we'll create a script here that then gets a reference to all those things. And not in Game Manager either, in Combat Manager. Right, because then we know where those prefabs are. We can then animate them and do stuff when it's their turn and so on and so forth. I need some gum. Throat is dying. Okay. So let's look up the instantiation code because I always forget the word. So Unity instantiate. Call the game polygrab. Well, maybe. Okay. So we're going to want to instantiate a, not prefab, cmanager dot enemy people prefabs d. So responding the, oh wait, yes, that makes sense, I think. Then we need to know where, and we're going to spawn this at where is it? I need my other scene open for a second. Scenes. Okay, did we get the enemy yet? We called that somewhere, right? Enemy people holder. Enemy people holder to transform dot child, get child, and it's also going to be at D. I think getting child uses curly brackets. Yep. Okay. And then let's not just get child. That also needs to be. Can I just get away with that? Can I get away with that? Is that gonna work? Do I need to tell quaternion identity and all that stuff for polymons? Well. Where'd they go? There's one there. Wait, what the hell happened there? Oh, it also needed a child of that. That's interesting. And it's okay. So why did you spawn at these? There's a battle chart thing in the drive. There's a battle chart in the drive. What do you mean? Let's look this up. There's a lot of models here, eh? I'm gonna have to look at these soon. What the hell is all this? Int, level, experience, float, primary type, secondary type, stats, evolve condition, happiness. Yeah, I've basically done all this at this point. I don't have genders or any of that. There's no breeding in my game. Wouldn't make sense. They're elementals. Battle phases, Pokemon faint, on lose, on win. Yeah, this is all, it's all pretty common sense. I'm working my way towards it. I don't know why this spawned here. So what I'm going to actually do in my loop is get a vector 3, and we're going to call this pause, and it's going to equal the enemy people holder dot transform dot get child index of d dot transform dot position, and we're going to get a quaternion. I'm going to say rot equals the same thing but rotation. I'm going to make the game serious, but it's going to be more dark. Like, it looks cute right now, but the game's going to be a very dark game, I think. Rotation. And then at this instantiate, we can say at pause rot. Right? That should maybe solve my problems. I think I know another reason that could have caused it. No, there they go. There they are. They're both standing in their respective spots now. Cool. Let's go to scenes, arenas. In my combat manager, it's spawn points. Let's actually just rotate it. I want it to be like 15 degrees. Okay, and I want these to be rotated negative 15. So minus 15. Okay. Save. Screw. There you go. So now we have a slight rotation, which looks a little bit more intriguing. Obviously, they're going to need to not just stand there, they're going to need to be, like, intense in the fight. Because just standing here is kind of boring, right? What do you guys think of this camera movement? I don't know, it's kind of growing on me. And then once you do a move, it would like zoom into your creature. It's kind of the idea. Alright, well, that's cool that we got this part. Perfect battle music, exactly. Actually, no, we should probably turn on... Let's go back to no copyright sounds here, but let's go to, like, more realistic music. Probably the better choice. So I don't want the player just to instantly be in the spawn point. I want him to like run up to the scene on the initialization, right? And then I want him to also spawn the creature, so it's not just instantly like this, which is going to take some effort. Okay. And same with like each of the people in combat, they're going to need to spawn something instead of just being there already. And I want them to also run up. Or no, they can already be standing there. That's fine, because they're supposed to be like, you're challenging them kind of thing. Oh. Told me the entire game on your own. Wasn't an effort to animate a few clips. Animating is difficult, my friend. Requires a lot of work. Is my phone on Wi-Fi too? What the hell? Whoops. I don't know. I'm thinking now. What do I want to approach next? What I think I could do, actually, to make this easier, I'll spawn them where they're supposed to spawn, like the player, but in the actual animation, I'll move him farther back and just make him run forward. So I wouldn't even have to handle coding movement. I can just animate him running forward and then doing his animation all in one go. It's not a bad idea. And then once those animations are done, that's when you finally start bringing up the menu and all that. Right? That's a decent way to do it. Or I could just use the run that I already have. Once he's reached a point, do the next animation. Hello, Santiago. How are you doing today? Yeah, I've almost reached 5 patrons. Then again, I only got 1 more, so I'm up to 3 patrons, which is nice. Oh, sorry, Unknown Sinner. Yeah, I'm only chewing because my throat's really sore, so I'll just chew on occasion. I apologize. Okay. I guess what we could do first... Oops. Is get the first animation done. So instead of panning in, what I'm going to do is have it start up, maybe. Up and back. And then have it finish. Oh no, I like where it finished, but okay, start like this. Okay, then I'm going to actually have a second animation. I'm going to rename this one to start. And let's just copy this. Pull it forward a bit. Finish. Okay. Then over here, we're going to have 2 animations. This is pan in, and this can be pan forward. We can rename this also here. Pan forward. I'll change the animation type to like this. So you see I'm using a curve. I really enjoy curves. They're really nice. So the first animation speed is going to be like this. Then it's going to do one of these. I might slow this down to like 6. Let's press play and see how that looks. So it comes down, and for some reason, I don't think it moved forward there, but I can't really tell. The only thing I didn't code in this was its rotation, to be able to have a start rotation and end rotation, which I actually want to change that real quick. So I do have rotation set up somewhere. Where is it? Focal point? Locked on. I'm so confused. What am I looking at? Where is... There it is. start rotation, and I also want end rotation. It's going to equal the start rotation, and then during this journey, we're also going to say cam.transform.rotation is equal to, is there a quaternion.lerp? Oh, there is. Look at that. Start rotation. Oh, it's one of these, damn. Missing letter C. Then we're going to need the same thing. We're going to want end rotation. And then lastly, I'm just going to use the same A curve.evaluate, which I might have to change in the future, just have a second curve. So I want to change the rotation speed. Now what happened here? Cannot convert from unity vector 3 to a quaternion. Oh, shit. It's because these aren't quaternions. These are quaternion.eulers. Quaternion.euler. And then we gotta do the same. So for those of you that don't know, Euler angles are basically just the easier ones to look at because they handle it just in XYZ values, while quaternions are XYZ and W. So this will now rotate based on my start and end rotation, but I only want to do this if it's not locked on, right? Because if it's locked on, that's what I set it so that it just follows the it does a look at right here. So if it's not a lock on, we'll do this. I'll also do this. Now this is actually gonna break, so I gotta do this. Else do this and delete that. There we go. That's kind of hard to look at. I can make it easier to look at if I wanted by separating different lines, but I'm not going to. So this pan in is going to start with a rotation. What's rotation up? I always forget. I want it to be up like that. That was what? The Z? No, it's not right. Is that right? Oh, it's over here. Rotate it up this way. Okay, so negative 90. And it's going to go to 0. Okay, so now I press play. It's going to start from the sky and rotate down. Right? I don't think this pan forward's happening though. How am I getting? Oh, that's fine. Actually, that's probably not good. There we go. Okay, so the camera pans down, but I don't think it's doing the second animation. I think it's skipping that every time. Because you can see, watch, it's on init. Once it pans down, it should still be on init. And it didn't, it went straight to random. So there's something wrong real quick with my camera manager. Anim holder equals current animations equals init animations. That's fine. Then find next. If it's this, we're going to go here. If the last index is equal to I don't think I need the -1. Excuse me. There, move forward. But I did get an error. Why did I get an error? But that's a check to begin with. Did I just do this? Like, no, I still get that error. That's okay. Now I also want this one to the pan forward. I want this to actually change to rotate down ever so slightly. So it's going to come down Oh, what did I just do? Oh, this is start rotation. Whoops. This needs to match this. There we go. Rotate down and go forward just a bit. Because if we were in the scene with the player, it should look good. Let's try it out. Save all this. Testing room. Let's go talk to you. Ah, shit. What's going on now? Oh, right, because this is broken. Okay, so we'll get rid of this check. And I'll put this back at the end. We're going to get an error if we ever ran the arena without the game scene, but that's fine. We'll just run them together. Alright, so it's going to rotate down for us. And then it's going to pan forward. Right. Oh, that was cool. Well, I don't think I'd want it to go through the player's head. You know what I mean? So, yeah, no. I actually want, what I'm going to do is offset the player. Oops. In the init manager. If you notice, I have this cube here just for reference. We're going to move them over by negative 2.5. Maybe you can try to fade in the next animation when it pans forward. Fade in the next. Which animation do you mean? The camera animations or like the player animations and stuff? Okay. Oh my god. Did you guys see that? Were you guys watching that? Oh, you're saying fade from one animation to the next? I'm only using one camera, so that would require me to actually change the actual way I've scripted it. But what I could do is just making a third animation that connects there to some of the work somewhere else, right? Pans down, zooms forward. And I guess I won't do anything here. Like, I'll leave it on that zoom forward for a bit. I don't know, I really like, so it goes whoop. So these random animations, I think should just start happening if you haven't clicked in a while. Otherwise, I think I'm going to leave it with the creature literally just in front of you, right? Like that's, looks dope. Hmm. I really don't know. What do I want to do here? Do I need those pan animations, or can I just do the start one and leave the camera? Hey, that's a mistake. That wasn't showing. It wasn't showing his creatures, and he has creatures, doesn't he? He has 5 creatures, but they didn't show up. That's not good. Why didn't they not show up? The creatures are going to constantly be fighting themselves once it's been spawned. They're just going to run in and look like they're attacking each other. Why didn't that show up? Combat trigger. Init combat. List of enemies. So many players. Where does that animation play? I don't remember where I made that animation play. But it's not... Does the other one show 1 still? Did I break it with this new code? Like if I run into this cube... Yeah, I broke it somewhere. I think I took it out and forgot to put it back on. Okay, I'm so confused. What script tells that animation to appear? Okay, let's see if this actually changes. Okay, yeah, so it did have the list of enemies. Yeah, no, you can't, guys, it would be like saying, shouldn't Battlefield get in the copyright infringement for Call of Duty, like, first-person shooter, right? It's just a combat system. It's no different. Am I going to be different, though, than theirs? I just haven't gotten there. Right now, it looks the same because they're just standing here. They won't be. They'll be doing stuff. Okay, so what in the hell is going on? When do I call that animation to play? On you. I know it's something to do with you. So, combat trigger. Init combat. List of enemies. So in combat manager, we're now saying setup. Setup icons, start coroutine, animation 1. There we go. Did I, like, delete the code that sets up list of enemies? I think what I did wrong was I need to do this. Right, so I was setting up when I had no enemies at all. Yeah, Bodwin, that's what I'm thinking of doing, so it doesn't need those animations for now. There we go, there they are. There's my 5 creatures. So I'm thinking it'll go here, and then it'll stay here. And then once you haven't clicked anything for a while, we'll do these. So, let's just change it so it just ends. It's in camera. So if it equals, if we've reached our child count, let's just turn this off, turn this off, turn this off. We'll just leave it where it is. How many is that a range? It shouldn't be. It should not be. I'm going to say return. Is return not a method? It's just a... Okay. Oops. Keep getting arguments out of range, eh? Why? Why would it... It shouldn't keep calling, so I'm a little bit confused. Hello, Kojak. How you doing today? Okay, I will, however, just set it to... But if I set it to 0, and I run this animation again... What's going to happen? What will happen? Huh. I guess I could say is moving is false. That could end it, right? Then I don't need to even touch this. Because is moving, it's basically, the object was still trying to move to a new position, but we never set a new position for it. So it was just breaking. I think. Yeah, there we go. So as you can see, we now have our camera set up. I almost feel like the camera should be set up more of like an angle. But then it's almost too similar to Pokemon. But it gives you more of a battle feel being on an angle. So we'll do the angle for now, and we're just going to make it look less and less like Pokemon and change the combat up. So, okay, let's first go scenes, arenas, save, camera, init animations, pan in, pan forward. Okay, so the forward's going to start and end there, but we just need to give it a bit of a rotation on which axis. Give me my cube for reference. The -10 on the Y. Like so. Okay. You'll also notice I haven't actually made it so the creatures spawn, because they're just in this scene to begin with, so we're going to have to change that also, but we'll get there. Not exactly what I wanted. We're going to rotate it more, and we're going to move it off a little bit different. So it's rotating this way. It actually needs to move this way more. So I'll move this to like 5 over here. And then we're going to rotate by -30. That might be good. We'll see. It is a koala with a crown on its head. I still think it needs to move more. Like, that's okay, but it should really be... Then again, if you have multiple creatures... I think the rotation's good. We're just going to move it to the left and forward more. And then that should be good. Start here, pin here, forward, and over. How far up does that move? Just testing here right now. That looked like quite a bit. Now I also noticed right here, you'll see this disappears, and you still see him, and then you're in the battle. Ooh, I like this. And then whatever creature you have open, the camera offset will change a bit. Make the camera look like it's hovering. So like make it move up and down slightly. So I do like this. And then when you use the directional pad, no, you wouldn't be able to use directional pad. Oh, I know what I should be doing for the second camera here. Arenas. And yeah, I'll give it a little bit of a hover. I do like that idea. But this pan forward animation, it actually should be locked on. So let's just quickly grab a focal point. I'm going to set the focal point to all zeros for now. That's a lot higher, eh? I guess I see why that was like that. Close enough. Save. And this has to just say focal point without the 1. I noticed a problem there. It auto went to that focal point, which is not what I want. Okay, I'm getting an out of range reference again. My setting is moving to be false, so was this supposed to be child count -1? But if I do that, it's going to play one less animation. Which is not what I want at all. I had to start randomly getting an error that I wasn't getting before. That's interesting. It also says let's fight. I actually like this. How the camera just stays here with the player in the scene, and then once you're actually doing your inputs, it'll zoom forward to your creature. But let's fight shouldn't have appeared. So okay. I'm going to go back to this. Moving is going to equal false. Else we're going to do the animation. Now we're going to go to scene view, arenas, grass. I want to actually just make this 1. We can get rid of that. We don't need to do the pan. This is good enough. I think I can just, wait, can't I just have it like this the whole time? Yeah, this should just work. It just won't spawn people, but, oop. Now, I'm getting this argument is out of bounds bullshit constantly. It doesn't make sense. Okay, I'm gonna do it like here. I think that's my issue. I'm incrementing at the wrong time. Nope. Just gonna do that twice. And then say it's out of bounds. Okay, why are you getting out of bounds? Where is the out of bounds? Errors are never fun. I thought I saved this. There we go. Start, do animation, and we increment it, and we shouldn't do this again because we've incremented it. But for some reason, we are. It could be because this is on late update. That'd be interesting if that's the reason. Nope. If, we'll just put in a check. If it's moving, do everything. But is moving is already set to true here. Shit. Shit, that could be why. What are you doing here? I'm going to set you to true. We're going to do an animation. Is moving is going to be false. Else is moving equals true. Right? What in the hell? I want to see this is moving variable. So it's on. Now it's still on. It never turned off. So let's check where we're setting it. When you start, we're setting is moving to be true. Make sense? Oh guys, another time for ad roulette. I'm gonna press it. Kaboom. Okay. So you start and it's true. That makes sense. If it's moving, do this. Current animation list. That doesn't matter. Speed equals this. If it's greater than or equal to this. So it was 0, right? And then we're saying, okay, we're going to set the anim index to equal 1. So now if it's equal to current anim object 1, which it is because current anim object equals anim holder dot get child. Wait, what? Okay, that's fine. No, it's not fine. This is not making sense. No, that was making sense. But I've used this where I shouldn't have. Okay, so if you look how I've set this up, that's why I've been getting this error. I've camera, I've init, random, and attacking, right? So I've set my current animation object to be, so this is the init animations, to be my anim holder. Oh no, but anim holder is this. So anim holder is this. So this would be still current anim object, the child count. Okay, let me just debug.log. We called this now. Why is this happening? We're not in random, we're not in attacking. It never called it. It never actually sees that this is a thing. Okay, so let me just debug.log. Last anim index plus last anim current child count. Why is this happening? What the hell's happening? Okay, there we go. Current child count is 2. What? Is it thinking it's this that I want? Let me see. If I took another finish, right? Is it going to say 3? What the fuck? Okay, that's why. So this whole time, this value equals anim holder holder. Oh my god, it was animholder.count that I wanted this whole time. Well, that was a long, what, 30-minute problem? Just to solve that issue. Okay. So we're in the scene. He's in the scene. We have to actually spawn our creatures. So instead of them being where they are here, they need to be spawnable. And that's entirely dependent on if it's a single, double, or triple battle. So let's, in our spawn points, let's go create another game, empty, and we will call this player elementals. One. We're gonna drag it basically where this guy is. So what was that? -10. Okay. Then it can be 5, and this could be -5. I like how it didn't increment. Didn't notice that they're numbers, eh? That's great. Okay. So, before we can actually spawn these guys, we're going to need to make sure our database has a prefab, which right now they're all missing. So let's give the sheep thing a prefab. We'll set it to be the king koala. Sure, why not? Okay. Now, in our initialized combat, after we have spawned the enemy prefabs, we need to... where was it setting initial screen state equals 0? It's here. Let's just do this in late up. No, I don't want to do it constantly. I just want to do it once. Because where this is happening, it's happening too soon. Before we're like toggling the camera, set active. So we're doing that, but this should be after it. So I'm gonna just put it here and see what happens. Because I didn't like that one little glitch, which is essentially it would load the animation, but then it would re-show the world and then go to the scene, because it was just, the timing was not right. So plays the animation. So he did it again. Why is this not... Why is it still going? Oh, because for some reason that doesn't understand this. Okay. Ugh. That timing is bad. So, how do you, is there a check in Unity? Unity, run once scene is loaded. Excuse me. I just don't get why this would be a... I got an idea. This is a little bit of a cheese, but Unity coroutine. Okay, wait. I used a coroutine in my... It's in Combat Manager now, I believe. Wait for 2 seconds. Actually, I can maybe just change it here. Instead of on the init combat. It might be the right time. We'll see. Of course, let's do this. I'm gonna wait for just an extra half a second. It's a little bit cheesy way to do it, but oh well. What the f... So, G Manager. What did I call? Enter combat scene. Store save scenes, get player position, unload all, load, combat manager, scene name to string. Where am I telling you to play this animation? Right here. Set the state to be 1. I don't understand why this would happen though. Where it... Like what logic is this? It plays. It disappears for a slight second. Then it reappears. But if I don't have this... If I don't have it, with that delay, it does that. Okay. I'm not setting the camera. I have an idea. Put it back to where it was. Where's the camera? So if I'm saying true, we're setting the player camera to be false. Do we ever get the camera? I'm just gonna do it up here. Like, this is... I'll take this out of this one for a second. I was actually inspired by Persona 4. But it was a Persona game, yes. Did that glitch happen? Did we just solve the glitch? Did it not show the world scene again? Ah, it still shows it. So stupid. I don't get why. Okay. Okay. Let's create this to be, I don't know. I'm going to try this here, and then we'll do the coroutine. I know this is a little bit cheese, the way I'm doing it. But basically, it should, I want the screen to stay black, like covered, until everything's loaded, and then I want the cover to disappear, and I want the camera to then play. So... Okay, not at all what I wanted. And the player rotation is also broken still. Now that I notice this. Because if I like ran at him from over here. Even still, it disappeared if someone said, oh no, the player rotation was fixed again. I must have moved him when I wasn't able to, just when it loaded. So let's put this on the awake. Yeah, I guess I could set the camera to false before even turning the animation on. That could work. So I'll try that. Let's take this. Here's my camera. Combat trigger. That's actually not a bad idea. Because before we didn't have that problem, so that's probably what happened here. So over here, we're going to set the camera to be false. We don't have a camera reference, so let's just make one real quick. Private player camera. I don't know. Player camera. And then here we got to get it. Thing is, then this will give me an error here because I won't be able to find it, but that's okay. Then in this, we're going to say player camera dot set active false. We're going to do it up here. So the camera goes away. Then it played this twice for some reason. Now it's still playing this over and over. Right, so we won't be able to find the player camera here if we can't get this tag. So there's going to be a lot, and I don't know when. Whenever I'm finished coding this stuff. If there isn't a player camera, that means we've hidden it already in the combat manager. So let's actually make this public. And we're just going to say player camera equals cmanager dot player camera. There we go. So I should go to my error. And there we go. My character's facing the wrong fucking direction though. God damn. What's causing that now? It's probably the fact that the camera's hidden and I still move the joystick. Like if I'm running at him and I don't press anything right now, it still says let's fight, but he's facing the right way. Okay. Now, if I run at him and I press something and I hold left, I should be facing left. Yeah, so it's still getting my input there, which we want to stop. So we're just not stopping the input soon enough. So instead of calling this here, in combat can move, player camera. Oh, I know what I need to be doing. Okay. This needs to go back to the combat manager. This is why it worked before too. And we were just doing this equals true. Ugh, now I gotta bring all the player inputs back to the combat manager. God damn! Okay. P input. Actually, I still want the player though, don't I? Because player, yeah, I still want the player. So we'll keep this. I'll leave these here also, but I'm just going to copy and paste them in the other spot. That's what I'll do. And this can be private then, because we're only affecting it here. See, now we won't need this, because we're toggling the combat, which fixes my movement problems. We'll never have the player camera. So it'll be like this. So much tweaking. Oh, fudge. What even caused that? How did I manage that? Did I like fall through the ground somehow? Interesting. So I say let's fight. And we're still facing the right way. Let's do it again. So I'm now clicking random directions. And good. We actually rotated slightly there. That's not good. We were able to rotate a bit. That's fine. Doesn't seem all that terrible. Delete king. Delete cancel. Cancel. Delete king. Okay, now let's get back on track. So we fixed our camera glitch. Sorry, I'm chewing really loud. We now need to let's do all this. Okay. Okay, so the next step is to actually get our creatures to show up, very similar to our players. Spawn enemy people prefabs, spawn player elementals. Actually, I'll just say spawn elementals first. Okay. We don't need update ever, I don't think. I'm in pain. Oh, I pressed add roulette. Sorry guys, there was no warning. Wonder who got it. Num of elementals equals cmanager dot, excuse me. Actually, it's not even cmanager. We need to get, we need a player elementals. P elementals. And it's going to be P elementals. Get all the records and say dot count. So right now I'm just finding my database of my player elementals, and then we're going to say dot get component player elementals. Boom. Okay. Excuse me. So now we have the total number of elementals, which if you look here, it's, oh, it's called elemental manager. What did I type? Wrong thing. Elemental manager. Getting this tag, getting this component, and getting the count of these records. Hello, Ultralights Productions. How you doing today? A Tenero. How come you randomly said yay? Is my stream broken? I'm confused. Maybe it died for a bit. I don't know. Okay, so we have the number of elementals. Now we need to actually spawn them. For int d, actually, I'll do what somebody taught me. Boom. Int, not capital D though, d is less than p elementals dot player. Oh, we already got it. Less than number of elementals. I am doing pretty good today. Okay, this is going to spawn all of ours, and we don't actually want that. We just want to know first if it's a double, single, or a triple battle. Okay. And that is set in our combat manager here, combat amount. Alright, so first we need to say amount to spawn. So let's actually go int amount to spawn equals 0. Well, we're going to default it to 1. That's what we'll do. If cmanager dot type, not type, it wasn't type. It's combat amount. No, I don't need to do an if. I can just say amount to spawn equals int cmanager.combat amount. So even though this is said single, double, triple, this is technically a 0, this is a 1, this is a 2. Just like this is a 0, this is a 1. This is 0, this is a 1, this is a 2. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to add 1 to it because it's 0 indexed. Oh, that's weird. It literally just showed up to me when I said it. It's bizarre. Okay, so we now know that we need to spawn either 0, 1, or 2. Then this is going to be here. But we also need to make sure we actually have the right amount of elementals. So if we only have 2 elementals to spawn, we don't want to spawn a third one if we're doing a double battle, and vice versa. So if D is 0, D is less than amount to spawn, we're going to do something. We're going to try to spawn, I guess. So try to spawn an elemental. So for, no, we don't want to do a loop. I know what I can do. I can say max spawnable. I'm going to use a ternary operator for this. For those of you that don't know, it's basically just a one-line if statement. So I have max spawnable, right? So then I can just say if amount to spawn is greater than our number of elementals, right? Then the first option, you put a question mark. This is the first thing we're going to do. We're going to say max spawnable is equal to number of elementals. Okay. Or we're going to say max spawnable is equal to amount to spawn. So these are my two options. Basically, this will be the first line. This is the else. Richard Gustin is saying, when there are two elementals, isn't it nicer to spawn them both on the outer side? I suppose, yes. Like you're saying, instead of spawning here and here, I would spawn them like here and here. And if there's 3, it would be these spots. If there's 1, it would be here. But all in the same line. Instead of doing it like this. I get what you're saying. I might do that. Looks like my ternary operator didn't work. Why not? Oh, you know why? I think it's because you don't actually need to write if. What did I do wrong? That doesn't make sense. Why does this not work? What the shit? Is it because I put curlies that aren't needed? Let's see if I wrote this right. So the other option is to go like this. And then write else. Oops, I actually need that. And then this would need this, right? This isn't a ternary operator. It's still written in one line though, but so I did write it right. I just somehow messed up the symbols. It's interesting. Whatever, I'll just write it like this, doesn't matter. So if the amount to spawn is greater than the number of elementals, so I just want to make sure I'm indexing these right. Amount to spawn is the combat amount plus 1, so it could say 3. If this 3, number of elementals is a count, so we had 1, it'd be 1. Then it's going to equal, if amount to spawn is greater than, yep, or it's going to be amount to spawn. Yeah, so that'll still work. Still do it this way. And then here we're going to put in max spawnable. And then we spawn them the same way we did this. Now, I wonder if I do need this. I'm going to double check something here. If I just went in and just put it like so, will that give it the rotation I want, or will it not? Oh, I went to the wrong guy. Whoops. It's this guy I want to talk to. Interesting. I broke something somewhere, but I also do need this. Now what broke? Tag elemental manager is not defined. ELEMEN elemental. Whoops. Cool. I really got to get rid of all my other debugs because it's starting to get too much to look at. Sorry for, I do apologize, I'm chewing gum. Like I said, I have a very sore throat, so I'm chewing it occasionally. I shall leave this one here. Okay, that one's gone. Frac journey, doesn't need that one. We don't need this. Okay, probably get rid of enough. Okay, so now let's actually do the instantiation, which is in combat bin. It's in init. Okay. So try to spawn an elemental. Do we have a reference? Actually, just go to arenas. Did we get a reference to our player elementals? Let's see. So we need now to get, instead of enemy people holder, I'm gonna actually change the order of this just so it's nicer. Put it like that. We need a game object, elemental holder equals where did I get the enemy people holder? Maybe just say it here. Oh, there we go. Alright, player elementals. If you haven't noticed, whoever keeps getting ads, I do apologize, but I'm just kind of clicking add roulette at random right now. It's not really that many people viewing, so it's probably only getting like one person. But now we need to change this with get the child based on the max spawnable, like so. Now instead of it instantiating this, we're going to instantiate the p elementals dot records d dot prefab. Oh shit, that's only the index. Oh, okay. We're not done just yet. We actually also need the elemental database edb equals game object, find game object with tag elemental manager dot get component elemental database. So this is going to look a little bit confusing here, but essentially this is giving us a number in reference to our elemental database dot the db. So we have our references to all of it, and then we need the prefab. There we go. So in scenes, game scene, temp, testing scene, let's actually go to this guy, and we're going to tell him that it is a double combat. Okay. That's independent of the amount of people, because sometimes you can be fighting two people that only have one creature, so it should load us two dudes. Boom. I might still do that animation forward that I got rid of. It seems to make a little bit more sense to me. And basically, what I'm going to change, Richard, is just if it's a double, we're going to move the spawn points up a bit. Right? I'm going to do that after I get this to work for both this and the enemy. So now let's call, excuse me, spawn. Actually, wait. So what we're going to need here is number of elementals dot count. Okay, int num of elementals, amount to spawn. It's going to be the same. Okay, then we need game object elemental holder equals. We need to get a string side. Which side? Then we're gonna need elemental holder dot transform dot okay. Instantiate edb the player elementals we need an index, basically. Int elemental index. So the reason I'm writing this out now is I'm going to make this work for both the enemies and the player. So in here, I'm going to say this. And these need underscores. That way I know that they're... that's what I do for my variables that are passed in. That way I know if I'm using like this or if they're made by themselves or whatnot. So number of elementals, then we're going to put in a string of player elementals. And then we need to get an index. So that would be p elementals, player elementals, elemental index. Where'd it go? Right here. So this will spawn the player elementals. Spawn player elementals. Load this. Now we still need this line. We still need these two lines. This is going to change to have an underscore. An underscore. That'll say which side. And this is going to change to an index. Okay. Now, our enemies that we're going to spawn is based on the combat manager list of combat elementals, right? List of enemies. So if I look at that combat manager, yeah, we have list of enemies here. If I put 1, it knows to make it combat elementals, which gives us an index and a level. Okay. It's very interesting. What do I want to do? It looks like my stream died for a while there, right? From 424, or sorry, not 424, from 130 to 150, it was down. Interesting. So what's everybody else doing today? We got 12 people watching. Might as well chat a little bit. I don't think I'll be streaming for too much longer. I need to eat some food. But this now needs to say something new. So instead of player elementals, we already have the combat managers, so that value that we want to give them, the number, is going to actually be something like this. I feel like my chat is broken. Did you guys just send those messages of the removing the brackets for the ternary operator? Because I just got those now. C manager dot not GUI element. It's list of enemies. Whoops. Dot count. Then we're gonna say it's been there for a while. Yeah, that is weird. Like, they all appeared just at once. So dumb. We need enemy elementals. Okay, where's my cube? It's over there. 10. Okay. Save this. Go back here. Enemy elementals. And then we need an index. So we're going to say C manager. Oh, I see where we're getting an error. We have that D right there, which doesn't actually work, right? I want to do this again, but that doesn't make sense. I'll have to do an if statement down at the bottom, but that's fine. So the index is going to need to be in this loop down here, and we're going to have to say if which side is equal to player elementals equal to this. There we go. We're we're going to get rid of this elemental index here. It's going to equal this. Else. Wait, now we don't have P elementals either. Goddamn. Now we do. Okay. Else it's going to equal this one. List of enemies. Dot elemental index. Close it off. Oh, I have to make it say equals. Whoops. There we go. Okay. Spawn me a bunch of blue koala bears. Oh, wait, I'm in the wrong scene. Hello, Jonathan. How you doing today? Aha! Alright, so it spawned us a couple things, which is nice. I do want to move the camera forward. We don't really need to see the player unless we're casting a spell. So yeah, let's add that animation back in. So in scenes, arenas, grass, save. We had a second animation. Whoops, wrong spot. Start is here, finish is there. Okay. Have the camera back like that when you're selecting attack. That's what I think I might do. When you're actually in, I was going to make it so when you're clicking through your moves, the camera will zoom back to the player, and you'll see that he's channeling something. Then when he clicks it, something will happen. So let's just call this pan forward. Hello, Alfie Goldson. How you doing today? Jonathan saying, great, planning on continuing learning Unity in the summer break and watching other videos. Hey, right on. It's a good decision. Not watch my videos. I don't know if that's a good decision, but I mean, learning is a good decision. So we'll have two animations here. I'll call this pan forward. These names actually don't matter, but I've written them specifically so I know that this one relates to the second index, and put this down to 6. We're going to give a start rotation of 0. We could give it a bit of a Y maybe, and we're going to also change the speed to go like that. This and this are quite different from each other, as confusing as they might be. This is how fast it moves, but this is where it moves over time. So like, if I had put another point into something like this, it'll actually move backwards along that line that it was supposed to move in, but it'll move backwards at this speed of 6. Okay, so if I press play, let's just see what happens here. Comes down, and it just went ape on me. Was Y the wrong axis? Where's my reference cube? Cube. I want it to go like this. Oh, it is. I want the x-axis to change. Interesting. Interesting. And it's probably -10 that I want, because that's starting up. It's going down. Is it? No, 10 would be right. So I press play. It should rotate down a bit more and move forward. Good. I don't know. I might make it go back to that angled view a bit. But it's almost problematic for sizing. But then I can always check, because creatures are going to be different sizes. But then again, if I did the angled camera, I could just say, hey, like, put the biggest creature to the back. So then I would need a size variable in my database. It's not a bad idea. I did plan on doing that already for the victory screen, so it's kind of a similar effect. Okay, let's change this then a little bit. So start is here, finish is now here. Let's actually make the finish over and over. That might be way too far forward. I'll pull it back a bit. And then let's change the rotation of the, where's my reference cube? Change the Y to -30. Okay. Something like that. So now it'll come down, we'll do some spawning, and then it'll rotate over. Looks like it did a little bit more rotating than I hoped for. Let's see it with our actual creatures. Oops, wrong scene. Alright, let's fight. So it comes down, and then it cuts them off because it's moving too far forward. We can back it up a bit. Thing is, if the creatures are big too, we're going to take their size into account for where the camera positions are. So that'll be something we'll have to get to soon-ish, I think. Okay. So let's go back to our grass scene. Just pull this back a bit. I'm going to pull it out and back. 6 and -17. Thanks, Mehmet. I'm glad you like it. So it's going to go from there to there, and it's going to rotate. That still might be too far forward. Let's do like -20 for now, and like 9. Let's try that. Game scene, testing room. Let's fight. Comes down, and then it rotates. Oh, that's kind of really nice. I might need to rotate it more, because if this is a big creature, you won't be able to see what you're fighting. Is there a generic way to base the distance on the height of the model prefab? So for character, or for Charizard size, you'd go way farther. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to code it. So, whoops. So basically, based on the size of the creatures, we'll determine how far away it needs to move. Basically, I would just move the start and end points on the animations to be different. This needs to actually be rotated more and moved over here more, so up and forward, and give it more of a rotation. So it needs to be moved up and over more, so let's do like 13 and -17, and then we're going to rotate it by 45 degrees, like that. Save. There we go. That should show all of them. I might move it even farther. Farther up? I think so. And then whenever you do input, it's going to scroll back to that first camera where it's behind the player, and he'll be casting a spell of some sort. I think that's my best bet. Or maybe even do like a top-down view when it comes to choosing your creature. I don't know. I really don't know. But let's move it forward more. Rotate it more. Temp. Nope. Arenas. Grass. Forward more. -15. Outward more. 15. And then we give it a rotation of -60. Excuse me. Save. I don't mind this. I still think it should cut off the player though. But if I start pulling it more forward this way, if I grab my camera right now, combat camera, you'll see. Actually, I guess I can just play around with it here and then just remember those values. Right, it needs to be interesting. But this can then get covered over. Gotta remember, there could be a third creature. And then based on if there's only one, he's going to be here. 2 would actually be here and here. And then 3 is going to be here, here, here. But I think this is what I want. So yeah, Jason, it works in, like, once it's built, it doesn't give you that pop-up error. And I'm going to leave it like that. Because basically I'm turning the camera off, doing the animation, and then turning a new camera on. So it's actually not a big deal. Okay, so let's get this exact. So we'll put this at 10, -40, 0. And this is going to be 11.5, 5.5, -15.5. You can send the reference image, just don't have the periods. So let's print screen this real quick. Paint. Expand canvas. Unpause. I don't know why I didn't think of doing this to begin with. So much quicker. Camera manager, init animations, pan forward. So the finish needs to actually be at 11.5, 5.5, -15.5. And then over here, we need to set the end rotation to be 10, -40, 0. Save. Game scene. Testing. Play. Close this. Don't save. Whoops. Don't save. Okay, that's not right. Huh. Those are the values I just gave it, though. That's interesting. It's supposed to actually be here. Looks like its Y didn't update. Did I not put -5 in there? Let's check. Oh, I put 5. It's supposed to be -5.5. Right? No? That's not right. 5 is way too high in this. Oh, because this is, no, I don't know. I don't really know. It's really weird though, eh? There we go. Whatever those values are, those are the values we're going to use. Because that I think can easily fit 3, 3, right? Now we're going to have to deal with the sizing of creatures soon, which is kind of pain in the butt before we can even get to the ability to do combat. I think I'd have their stats here, your stats there. I don't know. Hello, low poly ambitions. It's also good to see you. How have you been? Okay. So, we have the cameras rotating. Now, we've spawned the elementals based on how many they no, we didn't. Wait a minute. No, we didn't. Oh, we did. Okay. The reason why there was 2, even though he has 6 creatures, is because it was only a double combat. Alright guys, so it's been quite a while. I am actually going to stop now because I'm getting pretty hungry. So, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I've been me, you've been you. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I do have Patreon now, making a whole $3, $2? I think it's $2. $2 a month from Patreon. So if you want to show support, feel free to check it out. And yeah, take care everybody.